We're going to pick up and continue on from last week. If you have not yet watched the first couple of trainings that we did, these are kind of building on each other each week. And so we want to make sure that you are able to go back and watch them from the beginning. So just going to show you real quick. If you go into Million Dreams team, and if you click, normally you're going to be here in on the discussion, that's where it's going to default to open. If you click on units, click right here on units, and you scroll, you can see we have unit 1, 2, scroll all the way down to unit 7. These are different training topics we've done over the last couple of years, but unit 7 I've set up for the Leader Circle weekly trainings. These are these trainings. And you can see we have 1 is creating exponential growth, 2 is creating a breakthrough in your business. So each week we'll be adding these, but if you haven't yet watched 1 and 2, go back and watch those. They're about 30 or 40 minutes long, and that's going to give you the foundation that you're going to need in order to get the most out of this. And so yeah, that's how you find those. So you're going to go through those, and then you're going to go to this Google Sheet or Google Doc. Let's see. And let me just go back one. The link is in the trainings, and you're going to go to this Create Exponential Growth in 2020. Actually, if you use the link, it'll go right to that folder. And then we have these 4 documents. What we're going to be talking mainly today about is the what. Could really be looked at as either the how or the what. It's kind of both, how you're going to get there or what you're going to do, but it's kind of one and the same. So make sure that before you do that, you go through, first of all, the exponential growth worksheet. That's going to make a lot more sense after you watch the training on that. Then you're going to come up with your compelling reasons why you want to accomplish this. Then you're going to go through and create your promise or your commitment. And then finally, the what. So I'm going to open up the what. And if you've already done this, what the idea here is to brainstorm and create a whole bunch of different ideas of what you could do to accomplish your objectives. And what does Rachel Hollis call it?
She calls it the idea soup.
Idea soup, yeah. So just you're brainstorming, you're coming up with ideas, not necessarily thinking about how you're going to do that. You're just thinking of what possibly could you do in order to reach your goals or objectives. So if you just look at this first one, increase the consultant number. So let's say that one of the areas you want to work on is increasing the number of consultants that you enroll. And let's say last year you did 5 and this year you set a goal for 20. So what are some ideas, things you could do to increase that number?
Oh, you could do anything from expos to talking to more people to handing out Ruby to there's like and there's no bad answer. Like you just throw them up there, yeah. And then you kind of you really kind of focus in on what you really want to do. And so I think you just throw everything up that comes to mind.
Yep. Just as things come up, just write them in or type them in, and it's like you're just throwing stuff up against the wall, not worrying about how you're going to do it. Same thing with increase the number of team members. What are some things you could do to grow your team?
Right. This could be more engagement with your team. This could be a Facebook page for your team, more training for your team.
Weekly check-in calls.
Weekly check-in calls, one-on-ones. How do you feel like you can grow your team? And again, no judgment, just throw it all up and then really focus in on maybe the top 5 that you want to execute. Yep. And that's what you do.
Same thing with increased number of customers. And we went through this in the last training. I'm just kind of reviewing quickly, but because we're really going to focus on this. So if you haven't watched, I want you to kind of get the concept. You're brainstorming ideas, increase the number of customers. How could I get more customers? And just come up with ideas, and then increasing the average dollar value. And that's what a customer or consultant or team member brings to you in value. How could you increase that? How could you build? So like maybe it's getting customers to order more often, or getting people to stay on deliveries longer, or getting your consultants to enroll team members, which is going to increase their value to you. So ideas for doing that, for increasing the dollar value of a customer could be, I'm going to start sending out a recipe every week using Thrive, or I'm going to do a YouTube channel about Thrive, right? That's one thing we decided to do, is every week we're going to do a new recipe on our YouTube channel. So think of, brainstorm ideas of ways that you could increase the value that a customer or consultant on your team brings to you. So those are the 4 areas we're focusing on. So what I want to talk about now is a kind of a concept that I've learned through a coach that I work with, and that is the idea of 2-1. So 2-1 is every week coming up with 2 new things you're going to talk about. So, or not every week, let's start out first week. Let's just say that you had a couple of ideas to increase your consultant number. Let's say one was talk to 3 people per day about Thrive. What's another one, Lisa?
Let's see, increase the number of consultants. You took the easy one.
How about do 1 expo per month? What else? Let's come up with one more.
Let's see. Let's start a YouTube channel featuring Ruby and recipes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a soup.
Start YouTube channel, focus on Ruby and what?
And
right. Okay. So there's 3 things, and quite honestly, some of the consultant ones and customer ones are going to overlap, because talking to 3 people a day about Thrive could result in them becoming a consultant, but it could also result in them becoming a customer. You don't really know when you start talking to them, right? So some of these are going to have overlap. So the idea of 2-1 is the first week you pick 2 things from all your lists. It could be your list from increasing consultant number, increasing team number, increasing number of customers, increasing the average dollar value. Pick 2 things that you want to focus on. So let's just say that out of all of them you picked, I want to talk to 3 new people per day, and I want to start a YouTube channel focusing on Ruby and Thrive. So you pick those 2 things. Then next week, let's just say on Monday is kind of your check-in day, the day that you kind of work from Monday to Monday. So you focus on those 3. You just from all these things you brainstorm, you picked 2 things that you want to work on. And so over this next week, I set a commitment of talking to 3 people every day about Thrive and creating a YouTube channel. And let's say in my first week, I want to do 1 video. I want to create my YouTube channel if I don't already have one, and I want to upload 1 recipe to it. Okay. So then next week you're going to check in and you're going to review. Okay, did I do that? And you're just going to think, okay, let's say that, you know what, I didn't do very well at the 3 people. But I did set up my YouTube channel. And so next week, you decide, are those 2 things, do I feel like they're things I want to keep working on? If they are, you add 1 new thing to that. You keep those 2, you add 1 new one. If you decide, you know what, I want to drop one of those because I decided maybe I tried it and it wasn't that effective, or I just don't like doing that.
Maybe you tried expos and it just failed.
Yeah.
And so you're just like, well, okay, maybe I take that off and add a new one.
Yeah. So you can, here's your options, is you keep them and you add 1 new one, or you drop 1 and you add 2. Okay. So every week we're gonna either keep it and add 1, or we're gonna drop 1 and add 2. And you do this every week. Okay. And the idea is that after several weeks, you're gonna have a whole number of things that you've tried and you've determined, A, are they effective? B, is it something I want to continue to focus on? And as you continue to do this week after week, you are going to find things that work and things that don't, and that's okay.
And it's all results driven. So you measure your results, in your success. And if you're having success, you keep those things.
Yep.
If they're failing miserably, let's drop those things because they're not doing you any good. So you just kind of have to look at the results of what you're getting from your activities.
So the way you're going to look at the results is we want everybody to get an accountability partner. So an accountability partner could be somebody on your it could be your upline, your downline, a sideline, any other consultant, but it really should be a consultant because they understand where you're coming from and they're going to help you create new possibilities for yourself and you're going to help them. And so we want you to get with another consultant who can be your accountability partner. And then you're going to have a check-in every week with that person. If you think about it, anybody who is successful in sports, business, they have a coach or an accountability partner. You look at, like, I'm a big golfer. So Tiger Woods, best golfer probably in the history of golf, at least in the top 2 or 3. And he continues today. He's been playing golf professionally. He's 41 or 2 years old. He's been playing golf since he was 5, and he's been playing professionally for over 20 years, but he still has a coach because he needs that outside, that second set of eyes, that outsider who can look at him objectively and give him input and give him tips and give him help. If you look at business people, pretty much all successful business people, even top CEOs of companies, they have coaches who help them.
Or mentors.
Or mentors, same kind of thing, who looks at things objectively. So this accountability partner is kind of going to act like a coach for you. Now I have, I do a couple of other businesses, and one of them, I have a coach that I have to check in every week at 2:00 p.m. or 2 o'clock every Tuesday with this coach. And quite honestly, I kind of dread it. I don't look forward to it because I know I have to report what I've done over the last week. And so what we do is we go over, first of all, we go over what I committed to the prior week, and it's like a couple of new things I'm gonna work on, exactly what we're talking about here. And then I report to him what I did to accomplish those 2 things. And then we evaluate how effective was it, and then we decide together, okay, I'm gonna keep those 2 and I'm gonna add another, or I'm gonna drop one of them and I'm gonna add 2 more. And so I do this every week, and I don't love it and I don't look forward to it, but it has forced me to grow and to try new things and figure out what works and what doesn't, and then have an objective person helping me along the way. It's very, very effective. So
it's all about continuous improvement.
Yeah.
Jeff's coach is constantly trying to improve him. That's what we're doing with consultants. We're constantly trying to perfect all your efforts into those things that are gonna get you results.
Yeah. So Lisa, did you have a coach in the early part of Thrive?
Yes, I actually did. I would say Jason Norton was my driving force, and I can remember we came out with the Q, and he's like, okay, we've got this, now you need to sell it. And I remember, like, down to the verbiage that I used, he would either subtract that, no, take that out, or no, that's effective, go ahead and use that. And we really, really honed it in so that we actually perfected presenting the Q. For those of you who don't know what the Q is, just really our delivery system. But this was a matter, and it was a back and forth between Jason and.
But did he hold you accountable?
Absolutely.
So how often would you say you had to check in with him?
Oh, I was checking in weekly. In the beginning days, we definitely checked in weekly. And you know, Sandy Pearson is now checking in with me, and I think that's going to be great for me because it's going to be another accountability person that I have that I'm checking in, and she's got a different. I'm in the trenches, she's not in the trenches, but she used to be in the trenches, which I think is going to be super valuable for me. And so I just think the accountability partner, we've always said team up with somebody that holds your feet to the fire. And so I encourage all of you to go and do that because I think it really does, even though it's not fun sometimes, but it is exciting on the weeks that you've had some wins. You know, just like Jeff said, I don't look forward to it, but he looks forward to it when he does have those wins and he wants to share those with his coach.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting. Some weeks I feel like, you know what, I didn't get anywhere this week. I tried these new things and they didn't work and everything. And I report that to my coach. And a lot of times he'll say, you know what, I've worked with somebody else who tried this and this, just tweak it a little bit and gave me some input and kind of inspired me to try it maybe a little bit different way. And I've gone forth that next week and it's worked a lot better. So a lot of times that objective person can really help you tweak it so that you make it work. So along the lines of accountability partners, I think of a lot of the early consultants who had a lot of success, and pretty much every one of them I can think of had that accountability partner.
Yeah, they kind of came in 2 by 2.
Yeah.
Whether, you know what I mean?
You look at like, you know, a lot of people who hit platinum in the first 2 or 3 years did that. You know, I think of the Abbotts, you know, they had Debbie and Monty. I wouldn't recommend you just use your spouse unless your spouse is very involved in the business. If your spouse is, then that's fine. But if not, then I would pick another consultant. But they were both full-time, 100% in the business. And so they held each other's feet to the fire, right?
Yeah,
and bounced ideas off of each other. Later, I would say Debbie and like Heather Parker became more accountability partners. Holly Hardy and Sherry Brower, I would think were kind
and
of,
Sherry and Amber. And
yeah. So there's a lot of, you look back at people who have been very successful in this business, they had somebody that they were checking in with and being
bouncing
accountable
ideas
to.
off. Yeah.
And so it's really important. So we will create a post on Million Dreams team where if you don't have somebody that you can link up with, we'll create a place where people can connect to become accountability partners. And it's important that you do this weekly, and you really need to do it through a phone call, because through text or direct or Facebook Messenger, something like that, it's hard to have that back and forth and that input, and you know. And so we're going to encourage you to get a partner, check in with them, have a set time. It doesn't have to be long. It can be a 5 or 10 minute check-in, but you're just going to report. The first week you're going to share with each other what the 2 things are that you're going to focus on that week, and then the next week you'll check in. It'll be, okay, how did I do on those 2 things? Did they work for me? Did they not? And then figure out, do I want to keep them? Do I want to add something new? Okay, so that's all it is. Want to encourage everybody to do that. Next thing we want to talk about is as you're starting to work on these what's or how's, this list, is having intention about those. And Lee's going to share a quick story about that. Lee, so here's the story right here. This is a story Tony Robbins has shared about a Holocaust survivor who had clear intentions. So why don't you go ahead?
So the story goes that this man is in this camp,
prison camp,
yeah. Or you know, he knows he's
World War II,
he's gonna die, right? And he asks himself, what can I do to find a way out of here using only what I have with me, which is not much, right? He's probably got the clothes on his back and that's about it. But his intention was to get out of there. So, you know, instead of focusing on, oh my gosh, why is this happening to me? I'm going to be killed soon. All the negative thoughts and all the negative talk that goes in our head, he just cleared the board and cleared the deck by saying, how am I have to find a way out of this. And I believe that he focused only on the outcome he wanted. And his brain came up with a solution. And when no one was looking, he quickly tore off all his clothes and he jumped onto a pile of dead, naked bodies. And he just laid there completely still. And so nobody would detect that he was alive. And he just laid there and laid there. And then finally he heard the trucks pull away, and he got up and he ran 20 miles stark naked to the nearest place of safety. And I love that story because he just decided in that moment, I am going to live and I'm not going to die. And so this applies in our businesses as well. Like, what is your intention? What is your focus? What are you going to clear the deck with? Because we all kind of get that negative chat in our head that says, maybe you can't do this. And I think that if we have clear intention of getting 3 new consultants or 4 new consultants this month or 2 new customers or whatever your focus is, your brain is going to figure out that reality and make it happen. And your body is just going to move in that direction.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. This guy, he didn't know how on earth he could do it. Nobody escaped from prison camps in World War II, right?
No.
But he just thought, he had an intention. I am going to figure out a way to get out of here. And when the opportunity presented him itself in front of him, he didn't even think about it. He just ripped off his clothes and jumped on the pile of bodies, right? And despite the, thoughts of, they've killed my family and friends, and I'm laying here amid a bunch of rotting bodies and all that, he just set all that aside, did it, and he was able to escape. And that's kind of how it works. If we have a clear intention, and like if our intention is, I am going to get 4 new consultants this month. Now, the how I'm going to do it, I'm not quite sure, but we set out those things, like I'm going to talk to 3 new people every day, or I'm going to create a YouTube channel and post recipes, or whatever it is. When those opportunities present themselves, your mind is going to come up with a way to make it effective, and make it work. Okay, that's why intentions are so important. And Wayne Dyer says our intentions create our reality. So if you have clear intentions, so your intentions would be these ideas of what we did in the first couple of weeks, where you were coming up with, I am going to get, let's just say 30 new consultants this year. That's your intention, my clear intention. So then every time you talk to someone, your intention is, this person needs to become either a consultant or a customer, okay? And that's your intention. And so when you speak to them, your mind will get really creative around a way to talk to them effectively, so that one of those 2 outcomes is very likely.
Here's a clear intention for you. I know consultants that are really shy about asking people to be a consultant. But if your clear intention is to talk to everybody as if they were gonna, you assume that they're gonna buy in, right? And I feel like those consultants that don't have the clear intention will say, well, you could just maybe just be a good customer for me. But if you have a clear intention that you're gonna get consultants, I think you go in with, most of my people just go in and buy the consultant kit because they love the benefits, and then they love the product, and so it's the way you talk to people that are going to convert them. If you want to convert them to be a good customer, that's where you're going to do it. If you sell with your own wallet in mind, you're not going to. I had to learn that early on. I hated asking people for their credit card and upgrading to consultant. Now I just go in and say, you know what? Everybody should be a consultant. Everybody needs to be drinking Ruby. It's for everybody. Just like our great food. Our great food is an extension of Ruby, but I go in leading with Ruby. And if I have to leave them with a packet of Ruby and a shaker bottle, most people have a shaker bottle, but I leave them with that packet of Ruby and try it. And if they come back and they go, oh my gosh, I got to get this. It's the way, it's all in your approach, right? It's the positivity.
I think that's, and it goes back to also to your why, which we also went through in this exercise. Remember we called it our, what was it called in that document? I can't remember now. Hang on, I'm going to pull it up here real quick. Compelling reasons. This compelling reasons document that we did, or if you haven't done it, you should do it. What are your compelling reasons for wanting to accomplish these goals? And this is really your why. And if one of your compelling reasons is that you want to help people live a more healthy life, live a more thriving life, then your intention will be pure and true, right? It's not that I just want these people to become consultants so I can make more money. It's I want these people to become a consultant because I know the absolute best way to live a thriving life is to be a consultant. And so you start with that intent that I know that's the best thing for them. I know they'll be more healthy, they'll be more alert, they'll be a better parent, a better employee, all these things. then if they decide, you know what, that's not for me, but I still want to be a customer, that's okay. That's kind of what we always think of as
It's
the
the
fallback.
default.
The fallback, right? It's first thing should be the best thing is to be a consultant. But if that doesn't work for you, then okay, you can at least be a customer.
And give them the reasons why you became a consultant. They love stories about like why you decided to jump in, and I think that's important to share your story.
Yep. Okay, so one last thing. We're going to wrap this up in just a couple of minutes, but if you have any questions, go ahead and chat them in, and we'll cover that right in the end. But I want to talk about being realistic about our numbers, because a lot of times, let's just say that you set a goal that I want to do. Let's just say 4-2. I want to do two new consultants and 4 new deliveries every month. Well, you need to be realistic about what it's going to take to get there as you set your goals or your what you're going to do during the week. So just, you may know how many people like you have to talk to get a customer or consultant, but if you don't, and a lot of people don't, I wanted to share with you some average numbers in our business so that you have a starting point. So typically, in order to get if you talk to 10 people, you're typically going to get on average about 1 consultant and 2 or 3 delivery customers. Okay, so let's just go low, and let's say if you're new and maybe you're not, don't have a lot of experience, let's just say you talk to 10 people, you're going to get 1 consultant and 2 delivery customers. Okay, that means in order to hit 4-2, you're going to have to talk to 20 people in a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you follow that,
yeah,
20 people means 2 consultants and 4 customers. So the next thing you're going to do is, okay, how am I going to talk to 20 people a month? Okay, and you start working through the numbers. So let's just say during 5 days a week, let's say you take the weekends off. That means if I'm going to talk to 20 people divided by 5 is I've got to talk to, what were those numbers I did? 20 divided by 20. So it would be 1 person a day. So if I talk to 1 person, 1 per new person about Thrive per day, I can likely expect that I'm going to talk to 20 people in a month, and that a couple of those are going to become consultants and 4 of them will become delivery customers. Okay, those are kind of some good numbers to start with. So your next step is going to be, okay, how am I going to go about talking to those people? Because a lot of times we set these numbers. I want to enroll 30 people or 50 people or 100 people in a year, but then we don't really break down the numbers and know how we're going to get there and what it's going to take to get there. So work that way, work through your numbers that way, and say whatever your goal is for the year of enrollment. Let's say it's 24. Break that down to what is that a month? Okay, that's 2 a month, right? And then how many people am I going to have to talk to in order to get there? Then you can start thinking about, how am I going to get in front of people? What are the ways that I'm going to get in front of people to talk to? Now, I would not count reaching out to somebody on Facebook as talking to somebody. That is a way to start a conversation, but unless they come back to you and actually engage, I wouldn't count them. So I wouldn't say just sending 20 direct messages, Facebook Messenger messages out to people, or posting something on Facebook. I wouldn't count those as talking to someone. But if you send a direct message to somebody and they come back and say, oh yeah, I'd love to hear about that, and then you have a conversation, then I would count that, okay? So it's actually talking to someone with intent about Thrive would count as talking to someone. And if you talk to 10 people, you can reasonably expect to enroll 1 consultant and a couple of delivery customers. Now, as your skill gets better, you're going to be able to improve those numbers, but those are kind of numbers good numbers to use as a starting point. Last thing I was thinking, we got a couple minutes left. How would you say is the best way to, if you were talking to a brand new person, what is the best way to talk to them about Thrive, to introduce Thrive? If you said, my goal is to talk to 3 new people a day about Thrive, how would you go about that? What would you say to them?
I guess I would probably start off with just how amazing Ruby has been for me, and kind of just changed my life. And I would share that story with them and just said, I would say, I just thought of you because, I know you've been struggling with some health issues, and maybe this can help that person. And I think stories are powerful. I think your own testimony of a product is super powerful. And if you've seen a change in your life, many of you are doing the Ruby Challenge, and I love that Facebook page. I go on there all the time to get ideas. But you are doing great things, and you are changing your body, you are changing your mind, you are changing all kinds of things. And you just think, how simple is it to get your fruits and vegetables? But yeah, I would start there with my story.
So I would say start with your story, find out whatever things they're struggling with, Ruby can be an answer, whether it's energy or sleep or weight or skin or whatever it is. You probably will gain some stories of your own, but gather some stories from family and friends and customers so that you have several stories. So if someone says, you know what, I just am really not sleeping well, and then I drag throughout the day and I don't have any energy, you can go, boom. You know what, I have a customer who was struggling with the same thing. She had blah, 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 and she started doing Ruby, and within 2 weeks, she said it's completely changed her. She doesn't have that afternoon, slump, blah, blah, blah. So you have several stories in your bag so that when somebody brings something up, you can give them a story. And then the last thing I would say is don't be afraid to give away free samples of Ruby. Now, some people will say, and I've heard this many times, cost me $3.50 for a Ruby. I can't just give those away. I don't make enough money with Thrive to be giving stuff away. I get that. I get it. My background is in economics and supply chain management, and I am a cheapskate. And Lisa's always giving away Ruby, and sometimes she'll give them like a 4-pack or an 8-pack, and I'm just like, what are you doing? You can't give away all our product. But I will tell you that probably 7 or 8 out of every 10 people that you give stuff away from come back and want to order.
So it's bigger picture, guys. It's bigger picture. It's not tripping over the pennies. It's looking at, I want to grow my team. So, I just went on a little getaway with the girls, and I talked to each of them about maybe how Ruby can help them. And they each came back with a thing that they're struggling with. And I'm like, try it. I'll give you 8 of them. I'll give you 4 of them. And they're going to try it. And I think they'll be converted. So it's bigger picture stuff, guys, because my intention is to grow my team this year. My intention is to get more team members, and what better place to start with but your best friends. And
also your intention is to help them be more healthy, right?
Yeah. And no doubt some of them want to make a little money on the side. And so it just goes hand in hand. Health, make a little money, spread the love around. So
So I would leave you with that. So share your story, find out what their struggles are. Don't be afraid to give away samples of Ruby, okay? Even if it's just one. And when you give a sample, give them tips on how to use it so that they have a good experience. A lot of times what we say, especially when people first try it, is add a little bit of protein powder. That gives it a really good taste. Explain to them that it's kind of, gritty is not the right word, but that it doesn't dissolve. This is not a powder. This is freeze-dried fruits and vegetables ground up. They're suspended in the water. So let them know that shake it really well, but you're going to have some grittiness in there. That's the fiber. That's the real food that you're drinking. Okay. This is not an energy drink. This is not a smoothie. This is not a powdered drink like you would normally see, like these powdered greens or powdered, reds that you see on the market. It's very, very different. So set them up for success. Let them know what it is so they know what to expect, and then follow up with them. So yeah.
We have one son that never ate a piece of fruit or fruit juice in his entire life, and we just gave him a 4-pack and we just said, you know what, you're going to feel the difference within 4 days because you've never had a piece of fruit in your life.
No, you don't say never.
He never had fruit. Jeff doesn't know. He never had fruit. He never ate fruit. He hates fruit. So anyway, after 4 days of trying the sample pack, he's like, oh my goodness, because his body for the very first time is getting this nutrients he's never put in. And so it changed him. He got a 32 pack and he's on his way. So anyway.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up there, but everybody, please get an accountability partner. If you don't have one, we're going to create a post here right after we're finished for you to connect with people and exchange phone numbers and start doing that. I want you to do it every week. Have a check-in call, 5, 10, 15 minutes max, where you just go over these things that you're working on, okay? And that's about it for now. We look forward to talking with you again next week.
Bye, guys.
Have a great week. Bye.